everyone, I'm Supesa and I'm teaching English literature for grade 10 and grade level students who are facing the GCE ordinary level exam. So as the first video, I will be teaching you the first poem in your poetry anthology, which is The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson. So without further ado, let's go into the poem. Okay. So here's the poem, The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson. So this poem, as you can see, is a very small poem, right? It only has 6 lines and these lines are run-on lines, right? You know what run-on lines are. Enjambment we call it also. Then we can see, even though this poem is very small and it is considered as the smallest poem in your poetry anthology, right? Even though it is the smallest poem, it has a lot of literary devices, right? This is why this poem is considered as a masterpiece by Alfred Lord Tennyson. So let's get into the poem. The first stanza is having only 3 lines, right? So there are 2 stanzas and 6 lines. He claps the crag with crooked hands, close to the sun in lonely lands. Ringed with the assured world he stands. As we read the first stanza, we come across the first literary device, which is personification. Right? So personification. He. So the poet has personified the character eagle and given him a male perspective, right? He. Then claps the crag with crooked hands. Here also personification, right? We can find personification in many places in this poem, right? Hands, then what else? He, here also, him, his, he, right? In all these places we can find personification in this poem. Right, he claps the crag with crooked hands. So what are crooked hands of the eagle? The eagle is having claws, right, with the nails, sharp nails. He's having claws. So these claws are being personified as crooked hands. They are crooked, right? They are bent hands. He's clasping into a crag. You know where the eagles live, right? High up in the mountains, somewhere very high. So wherever they are, they just hold themselves into a rock with their claws, right? So that is what he tells with the first line. He claps the crag with crooked hands. He's holding on to a rock with a crooked claws of him, right? Then here you can see I have underlined the first letters of claps, crag and crooked here, right? So what is the technique we find here? It is alliteration, right? So claps, crag, crooked, alliteration. We can find the alliteration here. So see, in the first line itself, even though this is the first line of the short poem, we already found 2 major literary techniques here, right? Then, close to the sun in lonely lands. Again, close to the sun. What is the technique we find here? We can find hyperbole, right? So it's exaggeration, right? So the poet is telling that he is living close to the sun. Can anybody live close to the sun? No, right? How can anybody live close to the sun? That high up? No, we cannot live, and the eagle also cannot live close to the sun. But Alfred Lord Tennyson has given the hyperbolic effect or the exaggeration through this metaphor, right? Close to the sun. He's living close to the sun. That means that high up he's living, right? This is also a metaphor, children, right? Close to the sun in lonely lands. Again, here we find alliteration, right? Again here we find alliteration with the letters L and L, right? Lonely lands. The letter L is repeated here, and the sound K is repeated here, right? Collapsed, cracked, crooked. So here, close to the sun in lonely lands, he is living high up in a mountain or somewhere really high. And when the place that the eagle lives in is high up, close to the sun, that means close to the sky, it is very lonely, right? That means this eagle is loving the solitude. We don't see eagles with other eagles, right? We see them alone most of the times. So eagle is an animal, right? In the animal kingdom, eagle is an animal who loves solitude. He wants to be alone. So that is why he chooses lonely lands to live in. Then, ringed with the azure world he stands. What is azure world? Azure means what? Azure, blue, right? It's another word to blue. So ringed with the azure world he stands. So he is standing in the blue world. That means he's staying in the sky, right? He's always staying high up in the world, right? So with this we can find how majestic the eagle is, right? He always lives close to the sun in an azure world, right? He barely comes down. He comes down only to get the praise of him. Other than that, he does not come down, right? So he is always there. He is like the king in the animal kingdom, right? Other than the lion, who is the king of the jungle, we can say the eagle is the king of the sky, right? So he is like the king of the sky. He is having such a personality, right? So this is the first stanza. So in the first stanza, it basically says, the eagle holds on to rocks with crooked hands, which is like crooked claws, and close to the sun in lonely lands. He is living in lonely lands, close to the sun, which is very high up, and winged with the sure world he stands. He is always standing in the sky, right? So wherever he stands, there is the sky, right? So wherever he stands on a mountain, he is covered with the sky. His surrounding is with the sky, right? That's what the first stanza is. It's not hard, it's very easy to understand, right? Then, the wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. The wrinkled sea. This is a metaphor, right? So this is a metaphor, children. So wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. He watches from his mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt he falls. Right? So here, the wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. Right? So from this line, we can see how much inferior the sea is when comparing to the eagle. Right? So the eagle is more superior than the sea. Even the sea seems like a wrinkled, right? The sea seemed wrinkled when comparing to the eagle, right? Beneath him crawls. Even the sea lies beneath him. The eagle is that high up. He is majestic. He is powerful. And it crawls, right? The sea crawls, going slowly. Right, we can see how Alfred Lord Tennyson has shown the authority or the power of the eagle from this line, right? Even the sea seems to be a very small person compared to the eagle, right? He's wrinkled and he's crawling, right? Then he watches from his mountain walls. Again, here is a metaphor. Right? Mountain walls. So the mountains are like walls which are protecting him from all the sides, right? He's standing in the middle of the highest mountain, and there are mountains all over surrounded by him, and he's standing there like a king, looking down at the wrinkled sea. See how much of power the eagle has, right? So even the sea seems to be like a wrinkled person, and he's crawling, right? Even the sea is personified here, right? Crawls. So the sea is also personified here, right? The mountains are like walls protecting him. Then, and like a thunderbolt he falls. Like, we have another technique here. It is simile, right? So simile, why does it become a simile? Because we find like here, right? And like a thunderbolt he falls. Here again we can find the hyperbole also, right? So we know that the thunderbolts are like the most fastest things that to fall down to the earth, right? It's like the fastest, like nobody can catch the speed of a thunderbolt, right? But Alfred Lord Tennyson is telling here the eagle can catch the speed of a thunderbolt, and he's falling down like a thunderbolt. Why do you think he's falling down? Now he's high up there and he's watching down at the sea, right? So for a purpose only he's looking down at the sea. What is that purpose? He's eyeing a prey, right? He's waiting to catch some prey. That is why he's looking down from there to the sea, right? And after observing the prey, he quickly comes down to catch the prey. Like a thunderbolt, he falls to catch down the prey, right? So this is the whole meaning of the poem, children. So this is very simple. You can understand this very easily. But see the deep meaning given by this poem, right? So the wrinkled sea even seems like a very inferior thing comparing to the eagle, right? And he's watching from the mountain walls, right? He's having walls all around him to protect him. And he's traveling more fast than a thunderbolt, right? The power, the strength, the majestic nature, and the superiority of the eagle is shown by the poem The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Nothing can be compared to the power and the majestic nature of the Mother Nature, right? So that is what he is trying to provoke from this poem. And this is a very successful and a very interesting poem. See how many literary devices did we find here, right? So many literary devices. And also we can find the rhyming scheme also. See, hands, land, stands, crawls, walls, falls. It's rhyming, right? A, B, 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 right? Hands, land, stands, crawls, walls, falls, right? So I didn't underline that, but you also can underline it and write the rhyming scheme also, right? So this is the final analysis of the poem. Okay, let's go into the Alfred Lord Tennyson and let's see who is this Alfred Lord Tennyson. So Alfred Lord Tennyson is actually an English poet, right? He comes from a large family. His father was a clergyman, so he's a very British person. And he wrote poetry at a young age, right? So in 1850, after the death of William Wordsworth, he became the laureate of India, the poet laureate, the country's official national poet. So he wrote during the Victorian age, so he's a Victorian writer. And poetry is most famous for the musical rhythm, emotional depth, right? Then some of his most famous works are The Charge of the Light Brigade, Memoriam, A.H.H., The Lady Charlotte, The Eagle, right? So this is basically the introduction of the Alfred Lord Tennyson poet, right? So he was born on 1809 to 1892. Then the summary or the analysis of the poem is given here, right? Again, you can read and understand this. So the majestic image of an eagle, right, symbolizing the power and freedom, right? So all these stanzas, all these metaphors, similes given in the poem captures the energy of nature's power, right? That is the summary or the analysis of the poem, as we discussed. Then there are themes, right? The main themes of the poem that you can find here is the power and majesty of the nature, right? So the eagle represents the might and the grandeur of the natural world. So of course, like the mighty power of the natural world, right? Representative of the majesty of the nature, the majestic nature, the superiority of the nature, right? Then isolation and freedom. The eagle lives alone but reigns supreme, symbolizing independence. As I told you, the eagle loves solitude, right? He loves to be alone. And if you are going to be a leader, or if you are a leader, right, you also have to be isolated sometimes, right? You have to love the solitude. You have to love yourself. You have to believe yourself, right? So those are the true characteristics of a great leader, right? So the eagle even symbolizes the characteristics of a leader who can rise and shine in solitude, right? Who can thrive in solitude, right? Then the cycle of life. What is the cycle of life? The calm before the fall mirrors how power and life can change suddenly. The calm before the fall. So what was the calm before the fall? We saw that the eagle fell, right? Like a thunderbolt, he falls. So he was watching, he was observing from his mountain walls, right? And suddenly he falls like a thunderbolt. Before he falls, right, he observed in a very ominous manner. He observed silently, right? He was very calm. But in a second, it changes and he suddenly comes to get the prey, right? How power and life can change suddenly. So with that, we can say how the power shifts, right? How the power changes and life. And of course, he is going to get a prey, and the prey does not have any idea that the eagle is coming to get him, right? And then man and nature. A reflection of human admiration and respect for nature's strength. So a reflection of human admiration and a respect for nature's strength. So a man also, we can say some men are there like eagles, right? We can even bring this concept into our lives as well, right? We know there are people like the eagle who can lead, right? So it can be metaphorically taken into our lives as well. And the respect for nature's strength, of course, the Alfred Lord Tennyson has done his best to give out the nature's strength from this poem, right? So as we read this poem, we get all these themes into our minds. Then the techniques and literary devices. So this is a brief of the techniques that I taught you when we were analyzing the poem, right? So there are alliteration, imagery, personification, simile, symbolism. I forgot to tell you about the symbolism. So the eagle is the main symbol here. It symbolizes the strength, freedom, nobility, and what else? The majesty, then superiority, everything, right? Then the contrast. Calm observation versus sudden powerful movement. So stanza 1, you can remember, right? In the stanza 1, he calmly observes the nature, right? He watches everything. Then in the second stanza, sudden powerful movement. So suddenly he falls like a thunderbolt after the observation, right? So that is what? The contrast. Then enjambment, which is the run on lines, right? So the lines flow smoothly, imitating the bird's grace. So the lines are flowing smoothly, and that is the enjambment. These are all the techniques that you find in this poem. So that is it. So with that, the discussion of The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson ends here. So I hope you got this poem into your mind very well. I hope you understood everything I said, and I hope that you got something out of this video. So if you like to keep getting videos like this, I will be posting frequently. And also, if somebody is there who are willing to join the online classes that I will be conducting, I will link down the WhatsApp number to contact. And I will be bringing more videos like this to help you all. And I hope you got something out of it. Thank you for watching.